to the point I was making, that's why we need comedy in this world, and that's why it can't ever go away. And I don't think it ever will.
Right. Damn, there's some people trying hard, though.
But they're all fucking losers, you know?
I agree.
Like, there will always be the fucking people that try and have morning raves and try and do fucking yoga parties, and they're losers. And that's fine. Be a loser. Go find your tribe and be losers where I don't have to look at you. But, like, you guys are boring, and that's why you don't get invited to the cool parties. And the cool parties are never going to stop. Prohibition created the mafia. When you try and make something not possible, you just push. Dude, one of the most fun shows I've ever done, and I've done some really fucking cool shows, and I've done some really cool venues and some really iconic and historic places, and, like, I've had some really epic memories. But one of my, like, top 5 for sure is during the pandemic, when everything is fucked in LA in the middle of 2020 in Downey, California, in a speakeasy. I drove to this fucking strip mall parking lot where all of the fucking stuff on every single building looks like hieroglyphics. I don't know if Mandarin or what, but it was all some kind of Asian letters. We walked through a nail salon that is shut down, but the lights are on. We walk through a back alley. We walk through a kitchen, and then we come out to a bar with 100 people at it. And it's a speakeasy. Cole came. But it's a speakeasy bar, and they're serving drinks, and there's no masks, and there's a microphone, and there's people all in close, and the fucking doors are locked, and the lights are all blacked out on the outside, and you can't tell what's going on. And you could say anything and do anything, and it was one of the most fun times I've had on stage, and it felt dangerous and secretive and spicy. And if you try and kill comedy, you're just going to make more rooms like that. You can't stop a bunch of fucking addicts from getting their heroin. Like, we're just going to make fentanyl.
Right.
You know? So, like, that's the thing. All these people that are trying to stop comedy, they're creating whole new waves of comedians. You know, there are people who are just trying, like, and that's the thing too, is that there's all these that you have to take into account that all it takes to be a comedian is just say you're a comedian.
Right.
You don't even have to do fucking comedy. You can just say you're a comedian. You can just go on the internet and be like, I'm a comedian. These are jokes. Like, you can just do that, and you can do it anywhere. So because it has, like, the literal lowest barrier to entry possible, the variance in talent and skill level is huge. And if you just understand that some people suck shit at it, and the equivalent of me being able to throw a 20-yard spiral and land it, you know, right in the bread box for a receiver, and being able to just kind of shot put the ball a few yards is the difference between a comedian and a comedian a lot of times in terms of jokes. So when you are looking at these people that are on Netflix, they're NFL quarterbacks. And then you can go to an open mic and you can see someone throwing a football for the very first time. And unlike that, you need someone to throw the football to, and there's no one out there that can tell you how to throw a football, because you have to figure out how to throw a football the way that you throw it, or it won't matter, because you can't throw it like anybody else, or you're cheating. So, like, that's the other thing, like, I think people have to take into account is sometimes they're like, we should cancel comedy, and it's like, well, shitty comedy sucks and shouldn't exist. The people that are just getting up there and being like, you know, it'd be funny is if we just raped a bunch of ladies. They talk too much, huh? You know, like, that, you see what they're trying to get to, and there's something in there where they're like, maybe if I say something edgy and crazy, it'll be funny, but they don't get the essence of what comedy is.
Right.
So, like,
I have seen that where people try to be like shock jocks, and I'm like, yeah, I get what you were trying to do there, but Howard Stern is Howard Stern because there was nuance, and he was being shocking about stuff that was in the public.
He talks like this, and you don't expect this fucking
totally.
soft-spoken Jew to be like, so, you ever licked out your mom?
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's something to it where it's not just him trying to be crude 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's lost on a lot of new comedians, because, man, I saw you at some of these open mics where you were in LA, and I was like, whew, that was painful. I'm really glad the beers were only $4.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'd be really upset with Mike right now.
Dude, there's I tell a lot of people, don't invite your friends to open mics because they'll get a bad view of comedy. But, like, you know, there's people that come and you see all that, and you the context of every situation is what makes it important. You know, like, in the context of this podcast, you know, I've made a bunch of like retard and Jew and lady jokes, and, you know, said some offensive stuff, but this is also, I'm a comedian on a podcast. This is a closer approximation to who I am in real life and who I am off of the microphone when I'm comfortable and we have a rapport. So it's something where if you know me, and I know you very well, and we've got a bunch of history together. So I can say all these things to you because you know where my intentions lie and know who I am,
right,
and know that those aren't representative of my true thoughts. Those are something I'm saying in the moment for entertainment value on the podcast and whatnot.
And I know you have a good heart, man, like which I think most comedians do,
or
most good ones at least.
So that's the context of this. However, if you don't know me, some of your viewers don't know me at all and don't know anything about me and have never heard of me or anything like that. And so they'll see that for the first time. And then they have to make up that decision. And they don't have all of the history and context. So some of the stuff might come out wrong. But that's where you have to start. And that's where like artistic leniency is important. And that's where we need to be a little more forgiving with people, because that's how you get really great people, is by letting them fail. Yeah. And you can come on here and say, hey, that joke wasn't funny. That feedback I'm always welcome to. If someone doesn't like a joke that I have and they're like, hey, that wasn't fucking funny, tell me that. I need to know that, because if you hated a joke and thought, like, didn't even see where I was going and it didn't make any sense, then that's something I need to work on, because that's not, I offended you. That's not, you're in your feels and your own personal shit. That's what I did is not good enough. And my job, it wasn't done here today. So like, if someone comes on the podcast and like, hey, that wasn't funny, I didn't like that, that's not a very good joke, then that's something I got to look at. And I got to think back and I got to watch through that tape and be like, okay, next time I'm in a podcast and I'm trying to achieve that same effect, the example I'll use is this.